Michael Bublé has revealed why his wife, Luisana Lopilato, first fell in love with him, and believe it or not, it has nothing to do with his legendary singing voice. In a November 2023 interview with People, the current defending champion, coach of The Voice, spoke about the importance of food in his family's life and how he credits his own love for cooking as a big part of his relationship's success. "I think a big part of my wife falling in love with me was me on our honeymoon saying to her, 'I'm going to cook things for you,'" Bublé explained. That may have been what sealed the deal, but now both Lopilato and Bublé share kitchen duties. In fact, Bublé admits Lopilato outcooks him. "She's brave and experimental in the kitchen, and it's a joy," he said. "Every day is this new beautiful event that she's planned." Bublé says Lopilato is not only the master chef in their household, but the boss of everything. Absolutely. When it comes to the story of how love develops between two people, it frequently reads like a contemporary fairy tale, complete with unexpected turns, serendipitous encounters, and emotionally charged confessions. Luisana Lopilato, an Argentine actress, and Michael Bublé, a famous Canadian crooner, have a narrative that is nothing short of fantastic about how they fell in love with one another. However, the moment that stands out as the most significant and iconic in their relationship was not one that was marked by grandiose gestures or dazzling statements. Rather, it was a single phrase that was both straightforward in its honesty. During the time that Michael Bublé uttered a line that would permanently affect the direction of their relationship, Luisana fell head over heels in love with him. This was the moment that changed the course of their relationship forever. Before Luisana and Michael first met, she had previously been familiar with Michael's musical work. As she was growing up in Buenos Aires, the tones of his voice, which were smooth and velvety, had reverberated through her speakers, just as they did for millions of fans all over the world. However, when they first met in 2008, what had begun as a simple respect for his music evolved into something more personal and profoundly transformative in their lives. At an event in Buenos Aires, where Michael was performing and Luisana was invited as a celebrity guest, the two individuals happened to come into contact with one another. Luisana was a well-known actress in Argentina at the time, having appeared in a number of films and television shows. Michael, on the other hand, was already a worldwide phenomenon, admired for his charisma and sophisticated combination of jazz and pop music. The fact of the matter is that Luisana was drawn to Michael on that particular day because of his characteristic voice and his sense of humor. However, the thing that struck her the most deeply was not his renown or his talent. Rather, it was the honesty that he emanated, which was something that made her feel curious about him while also making her feel at ease. During the course of the evening, the two individuals invested time in getting to know one another. What we experienced was not love at first sight in the conventional sense. Rather, it was an instant connection, a spark of chemistry between the two of us. They discovered that they were laughing together, telling stories to one another, and most significantly, bonding over the ideals and sense of humor that they brought to the table simultaneously. Michael, who is known for his charming personality, made an effort to help Luisana feel at ease due to the fact that he was aware that the focus of the media might frequently be overwhelming for someone who was not accustomed to it. However, it wasn't until a considerable amount of time had passed that Luisana came to the realization that there was something about Michael's character that actually resonated with her. There was more to it than just the manner in which he held himself with humility. It was not even his dapper appearance. It was something that carried a great deal more significance, something that was brought to light by Michael's mere utterance of a few straightforward words. Luisana claims that she fell in love with Michael when he told her, "I'm just a regular guy with a big dream." It was then that she fell in love with Michael. There are a lot of people who could consider these words to be unremarkable or even casual. Nevertheless, Luisana thought them to be profound. Michael's declaration that he is a regular guy was something that stuck out in a world where superstars sometimes conceal themselves behind their identities and the dazzling facade of fame. A weakness that struck a chord with her on a profound level was revealed in a straightforward and modest acknowledgement. She had wished for simplicity in her own life, despite the fact that she was famous, and this statement spoke to that desire. In spite of the fact that Michael was a worldwide celebrity at the time, he was just a man who had put in a lot of effort to achieve his goals and had never lost sight of the person he was beneath all of the glitz and glamorous appearances. The environment in which Luisana had grown up was one in which appearance was important, and the need to constantly be perfect and composed might often overwhelm the significance of actual connection. It was a moment of clarity for her when she heard Michael Bublé, a person who had attained international renown, say that he was just like everybody else, dreaming big and working hard all the same. Above and beyond the stage lights and the spotlight, it demonstrated to her that Michael was a man who was humble, rooted in his principles, and unafraid to be vulnerable. A profound effect was left on Luisana as a result of this modest disclosure. It destroyed whatever preconceived assumptions she might have had about the superficial nature of celebrity society, and instead presented her with a man who was determined, truthful, and authentic. She recognized in Michael a person who had achieved success through the application of effort and genuineness, rather than by attempting to present a faultless picture. The fact that she felt like she could be herself around him was perhaps the single most important factor that led to her falling in love with him. This trait gave her the impression that she could be herself around him. Nevertheless, Michael's comments were not the only thing that won her over. Throughout the entirety of their relationship, he never stopped demonstrating his love and respect for her in 1,000 different ways. As time went on, their connection became stronger. Both the joyful moments and the more problematic periods, including their terrible experiences with Michael's health, were shared by them. They went through the ups and downs of life together. With everything that happened, their connection remained unbreakable. Over the course of their relationship, Michael's unflinching love and support for Luisana never wavered, and she, in turn, continued to adore him for the man he was, a humble, compassionate, and completely committed individual to his family. It was in 2011 when they officially started their marriage, and since then it has become a testament to the power of honesty, vulnerability, and being respectful of one another. By bringing children into their lives and working together to navigate the challenges of parenthood and employment, they were able to build a family together. They were able to keep their relationship grounded, out from the public glare, and focused on their love for each other despite the continual attention they received from the media because of their relationship. The words spoken by Michael Bublé on that particular evening, which were "I'm just a regular guy with a big dream," turned out to be more than simply a passing moment in between them. They distilled the core of what made their connection unique and exceptional that they shared. It was not about making huge gestures or making romantic declarations. Rather, it was about being true and authentic with each other. This sincerity, this capacity to maintain their dignity in spite of their achievements, became the cornerstone of their everlasting love for one another. The connection between Michael and Luisana continued to develop and grow over the course of the years since it began. First and foremost, they had a profound regard for one another, which they shared with one another in addition to laughing, experiences, and challenges. Their love was not founded on fleeting moments, but rather on a solid and stable foundation of trust, authenticity, and the willingness to see each other for who they truly were. They realized that this foundation lay the groundwork for their love. As a reminder, the love that Luisana has for Michael is a reminder that sometimes the simplest things said with sincerity can have a huge influence on our emotions. It was Michael's admission that he was just a regular guy with a huge goal that opened her eyes to a love that was as genuine as it was beautiful. It was a love that, despite the fame and the splendor that surrounded them, would always be built on mutual respect, humility, and maybe most importantly, honesty. When it comes down to it, love isn't necessarily about making proclamations or having spectacular moments. Sometimes, the words that are the most straightforward and genuine are the ones that end up capturing the essence of who we are and who we want to be with. Those words spoken by Michael Bublé marked the beginning of a love tale that continues to this day for Luisana. It is a love story that demonstrates that even in the world of fame, the most true love can still be found in the most unexpected of circumstances. Bublé has learned a thing or two from being a coach on The Voice for 2 seasons in a row. Watch him now on season 27, airing Mondays at 8/7 C on NBC. While talking to NBC Insider, Bublé revealed what he learned from his first season specifically on The Voice. Be empathetic and warm, and always realize that the artists are a mirror image of you and where you've been and where you've come from, he said. Bublé used to get sad about having to eliminate artists from this team. Now he has a different, more positive perspective. He says the exposure artists get from being on the show is invaluable, whether they win or lose. My favorite part about is, when I had to let people go for the first time, I was upset about it, Bublé admitted, until I realized that their lives had changed. Until I realized that their careers had started. They started to create a business that could go on.